Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. This is me moving stuff. It's Friday evening. Welcome to the weekend. And this evening we are talking housing. And the reason we're talking housing is obviously if you're in the UK, you know that the interest rates went up quite considerably yesterday. And for anyone who's not on a fixed rate mortgage, that is going to have quite an impact on your repayments. Excuse me. Now, it seems that the Chancellor has spoken to the lenders, and we're going to have similar to what we had in COVID, in that if you're struggling to pay, you can speak to your lenders, you can change your repayments or do whatever it is that they will allow you to do, and it won't affect your credit rating for when you need to redo your mortgage, which is seemingly similar to what we had through the COVID restrictions. And that is great. That is something that's going to help quite a few people. However, there's a few people it's not going to help. Um, People who are maybe in rented accommodation. Now, it certainly has in recent years been a very good investment for people to buy properties and rent it out. And what a lot of people have done who've done that, I've watched the YouTube videos of buy your first house, preferably a fixer upper, upgrade it, then borrow off it to buy your next house and mortgage off and mortgage on. And and they do a chain. There's people have bought whole streets, whole housing schemes doing that. And what's happening now is their repayments have risen so much that they're having to increase the rents. Now, I know that in Scotland there is a thing where you're not allowed to increase the rents. I think it's more than 3% at the moment. To be honest, I'm not sure if that is valid in England, if that is happening in England. But I know there's a lot of people who the landlord is paying a mortgage to hold the property and they expect the rent to cover that mortgage because they don't have the spare cash themselves. That's been the retirement plan. And, don't get me wrong, I thought that was a really good retirement plan until now. Mm-hmm. Um, so there could be quite a few people looking to change what happens with rented property. As in, if it's a landlord, they might have to sell the property, or they might have to say that they're evicting the people who are there just now so that they can then redo it. Now, I know there's a whole lot of rules and regulations about that, and I've got no intention of getting involved in all that. Where I'm coming from with this video is, have you thought about having your family coming to live with you? Because I think that's going to have to happen to quite a few people. I think there's going to be quite a number of incidents where families are not going to be able to keep paying their mortgage, so they're going to have to pull together. Now, whether that means that they sell two smaller houses and move into a bigger house, whether that means they maybe move in with their parents who have already paid off their mortgage, I don't know. But I think in the next year or so, that could be something that a lot of people are having to look at. So I think it would be quite sensible to have a look and see whether you could have family living with you or whether you could go and live with family. If you are in a situation where you're not going to be able to keep the roof over your head, if things keep going the way they are going, where could you go? Is there family that you could go and stay with? Now, if there is there something that you could do to help them with that? Obviously, if it's older family members you're moving in with, you could maybe help with the garden or the cooking, the cleaning, whatever. I know that there's some schemes in various places where a younger person can go and stay with an older person and they get cheap rent because they help out with the house. Maybe it's time we started looking into them. Maybe it's time we started looking at how those work, whether we can use them. And as I say, whether we might have to move in with family or whether family may want to move in with us. And when you have that, it's very well saying, No problem, baby, move in with me. That's fine. She's been living with her other half. Do you know, it's been her and her partner for the past 5 years. That means he's coming too. Or if, like me, I'm an only child of an only child, I don't do children. I certainly don't do toddlers and stuff. I would have such a culture shock if I had to have children move in with me. Now, don't get me wrong. If that's family and that's what's needed, then that's what has to happen. But you may want to prepare yourself for something like that, because I know I would have to. Like, a lot. I would have to prepare a lot. So yeah, that's my thought for this evening. I think housing is going to change quite dramatically. So I think it's possibly a good idea to think about it so that we don't get blindsided. Think now about any spare rooms you have, about what your family is that you would maybe think that they would ask or you would ask. Let's start thinking about it now so it's not a shock to the system later. Catch you later.